I'm Hayden Pedersen, and this is Uncommon.
Uncommon is a production by Neuralle, a full-service digital agency. If you want to grow with a premium agency and have the ability to work with Jordan directly, then learn more at neuralle.com/media and request a callback. That's neuralle.com/media.
Welcome to another episode of Uncommon. My name's Jordan Michaelides and I'm your host. In this episode, I have for you Hayden Pedersen. Hayden is a photographer, content creator and local YouTube sensation. This black hat wearing, lat flaring creator from the elite Eggplant gang has reached well over 820,000 subscribers on YouTube and 187,000 followers on Instagram. But more importantly, Hayden is completely and utterly focused on the process of creating. And you get that sense when you hear him speak about how he measures success, subscribers, followers, and so forth. I think along with Liam, who is 7th Era, and Mike in North Borders, I know that what they're creating here locally in Melbourne is something they'll collectively be proud of in many years to come. In this episode, we covered a lot, including lat flares, acceptance and embracing weirdness, background and growing up, starting at 11 years old, dealing with perfectionism, meeting Mike, Liam and Lemon Fan, what's in Hayden's camera bag as well, just a few of the topics that we covered. Many thanks to Dre Barber for coming along and, of course, leaving us a recent review. James Harrison as well. Loved reading your written reviews. We've just cracked 80. We're going for 100. Please, if you've got some time, leave us one on Apple Podcasts. Share with your friends, take a screenshot, post on your Instagram story, tagging at @uncommon_show. If you're watching the episode in full, or if you want to find it, search Uncommon Show on YouTube and don't forget to like and subscribe. Show notes and all previous guests are at neuralle.com/podcast. That's neuralle.com/podcast. With that being said, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you'll enjoy this conversation with Hayden Pedersen. Hayden,
What's up?
We're live.
Here we are. We're here.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm just looking at the cameras. Boom, boom, boom. I'm feeling a bit professional with all these angles. I'm liking it. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm just I'm thinking carefully about what is the opener I want to go with. What's the inside joke? Because you got to understand, when I asked Liam and Mike about this, they were going nuts. Like, talk to him about this, talk to him about that, like things that could really stump you up. So I've got to think carefully about the first thing.
Okay.
But I want you maybe to start with a story about how you told your Year 5 teacher that your eyes bulge if you eat potatoes.
Okay. All right. So when I was in grade 5, essentially, like, we were getting ready to go on a school camp, and we had like this pre-assembly where the whole year level was there, and the teacher wanted to know if anyone had any allergies. And he's just like, all right, if anyone in this whole assembly has any allergies, can you please stand up and like just say what it is? And I just like, I'm the only one in the whole year level that stood up, and I hate potatoes. So I said, yeah, I'm allergic to potatoes, but I'm not actually allergic to them. I just said it because I just didn't want to eat them on the camp. And he's just like, oh, do you mind telling me what happens when you eat potatoes? And I said, I meant to say my eyes swell up, but I said my eyes bulge. Like as in like, you know, do you know photo booth on like the Mac where there's like the bulge effect? That's what would happen. Like, but obviously that doesn't happen because I'm not allergic to it. But then as soon as I said my eyes bulge, the whole year level just start pissing themselves laughing. Even the teachers started laughing. They're just like, you can't be serious. That's not real.
And what, did you get this thing through? Did they say, yep, okay, all right, fine, we'll just go with that? Or
I think that like they sort of thought that I was sort of joking around, but at the same time, they didn't want to say to me that you're joking around, just in case if I wasn't joking, if I actually genuinely had something truly wrong with me. So they just said, all right. And then they just said like, yeah, sit down. And that was it.
Yeah. I mean, I've had so many people come up with excuses for things that they don't like and say they're allergies. I remember like working in restaurants we'd regularly get that. There's this lady who would always come in and there'd be a new thing that she had an out. Like she'd pick a dish and she's like, oh, can I have the tomato salad, but I'm allergic to tomato or something like
really?
that. Like she didn't like the thing, but she liked everything else in it, right? So she liked the cucumber, the feta, the actual leaves and all that sort of crap. And it got to a point where basically I just started saying to people like, are you allergic or do you just not want to have it? Because we don't care. You can just take it out. Like there's no problem at all. And and they just go along with the lie. Like it's sort of the good old commitment and consistency principle. They've just got to go with it.
I feel like, that actually sort of used to happen to me. I used to be like the most picky with foods. Like I would go to Subway and I would ask for a foot-long sub and I'll just be like, oh, can I just get ham and tomato sauce? And then that's it. And then they're just like, oh, you don't want any cheese? You don't want any salad or anything? I'm just like, no, ham and tomato sauce. And I feel like every single employee that served me, they either got used to me ordering this stuff, but like at the start, I think that they were just truly judging me big time.
So you're not like when it comes to Subway, you're not like a meatball sub kind of guy?
Nah, I have diversified a lot since then because I was probably about like, I don't know, 15. That's pretty old. That's still pretty old to like be getting ham and tomato sauce on subs. But yeah, now I'm going for like more of a teriyaki chicken kind of vibe.
I've always been a meatball. Like I don't have Subway much anymore, but meatball sub with, I think it's tasty cheese.
Yeah.
Bit of lettuce and mayo.
They've gotten rid of cheddar cheese. What do you mean?
What?
They've like I used to get cheddar cheese on it and is it cheddar or Swiss? One of them, they've gotten rid of them and it's just the most bonkers idea that Subway have ever come up with. I don't know what they're doing, but
yeah. Subway's never been the same until they found out about that Jared guy. Remember how he got like convicted for being a pedophile or something? Remember the guy?
Oh yeah. I remember this.
It's got a taint. I don't know. There's something about it now. There's something tainted about it. I'm just like, oh, they're associated with this guy.
Yeah, it's probably not a good thing to be associated with.
There was a few other things that we had in here. I mean, the obvious one, there was a few people that asked about flying the drone into the Yarra River. Yeah, we've all heard about that. Your Tesla and wanting to save the planet with your Tesla. Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, yeah.
Liam and Mike reckon you pronounce it wrong.
Abu Dhabi. Isn't that how you say it? I don't know.
Apparently.
What? Mike and Liam? Where did this come from? I haven't even heard them say this to me.
The thing they did tell me to ask you about is the lat flare.
Do you know what a lat flare is?
Yeah, it's where you're sort of flexing your lat.
It's like where you like spread your lats like this, like bodybuilders do it. And like we do it as a joke. Like, you know, a lot of people that it's more of a meme, but like some people that go to the gym, let's just say, are insecure about their bodies. And the reason why they go to the gym is to impress other people, obviously. And so you have those people that have the ILS. Have you heard of ILS? Invisible lat syndrome. So it's like...
so this is a meme that they just have no lats.
Yeah, exactly. Like they try and spread their lats when they're walking around to make them feel like they're bigger than what they are. So they'll literally walk in public with spreading their lats out like this, but like not like too much. But you can tell, like the people that walk around like this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I take it to another level, and sometimes... like just randomly in public with the boys, I'll just like walk around with my lats spread out, even without saying anything. I'll just do it for like a minute or two, even if they don't notice me doing it. And I'm walking by people are like, what is this kid doing? I'm just like doing this the whole time. That's what the lat flare is. It's just a stupid meme that's what it is.
And a joke between you guys. I love it though. I mean, I think that is a very endearing thing about the crew that you guys have. It's the jovialness of it, which in and of itself becomes content.
Yeah.
So I think that's what a lot of people like. And, you know, we're talking about vulnerability before. Like, you can't be any more vulnerable than on the vlogs that you guys make, I don't think.
I think that's the thing. Like, I'm really trying to practice becoming a master at is acceptance. And that's like, when I say acceptance, I mean like just letting go of like of being like too uptight and like allowing yourself to be weird. I think weird is cool. I think that if you're even doing a podcast, like putting yourself out there on YouTube and stuff, you're being super vulnerable.
Yeah.
But the more you get comfortable with being vulnerable, the better you get at it, just like any other practice. And like, that's what I want to do. Because at the end of the day, I want to become a master of my craft. And the only way I can do that is by practicing getting uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're definitely right. I think it's something that people realize over time, like particularly if they've built like a following on Instagram, they realize that the best shit is when they're like sitting in their underwear on the couch talking about how not that they're depressed, but like they're down because of the week they've had or whatever it may be. I think we all just want a bit of like escapism. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what it gives.
Yeah.
I found it really interesting looking at your background. You grew up in Warragul, right?
Yes.
So my nanny lives in Yarragon.
Oh, really?
My grandmother on my dad's side is from Foster. I've got a mate who lives in where's he live? Meerbu North. Yeah. Fucking great area.
Yeah.
Dude, he lived in like Melbourne. Did really well in property. Like he's a young guy. He's probably like 32. So he's still pretty young. He bought a house, renovated it, did really well with that, sold it, and then he's like, you know what? Because his whole backyard was like chickens and like aqua farms and all this sort of stuff. He's like, I'm just going to go move out to the country and I'm just going to have like a self-sufficient farm. And that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
All right.
It's really, really cool, actually. You guys should go down there one day and just like the shit that he's got on that farm is crazy.
Really?
Like he's got his own beehives, which then pollinate all the different vegetables that he has. So the vegetables he has are like humongous. He's got quails. He's got like, it's just everything. And the cattle move around, and then he has like these chickens that come in like trolleys after the cows, and they scratch for like the cow dung and stuff like that.
Really?
It's super fascinating. It's like regenerative farming.
Interesting.
Is the word. Yeah, it's really, really intriguing.
Yeah. Interesting.
But I have no idea where I was going with that. But anyway, Gippsland, right?
Yeah.
What sort of? I know you were born in Maryland.
Yes.
In Annapolis.
Annapolis, Maryland.
And you got dual citizenship.
Yeah.
Who's American? Your dad or your mum?
None. Yeah.
So you were just born there?
Yeah, I was born there. So my dad was born, I think, in Melbourne. Like I think he was born in Warragul. But he met my mum in Melbourne. Mum's from Sydney, but they ended up moving over to they ended up marrying and then moving over to America because Dad's business that he was doing. I can't say too much about my dad's stuff because it's pretty
confidential.
Not controversial. What was the word?
Confidential.
Confidential. That's the one.
Yeah.
The materials he wasn't able to get in Australia, so he moved over there with Mum. They had us when we were over there in America, and so me, my brother, and my sister, we all have American citizenships. My dad has got his American citizenship now, but yeah, we have dual citizenship.
That is so smart that they decided to do that for you.
Yeah, super lucky.
When did you come over back to Australia? How old were you?
When I think I was like 4 years old. It was after 9/11.
Okay, so you're still quite young.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why does your dad have an Emmy or Grammy?
Emmy. Yeah.
Emmy.
He has 3. They're for different reasons, but I'm pretty sure it's either for POV one. I remember one of them is for like POV cameras for the either BBC or the ABC on racing.
Really?
That was for one of them. He's got 2 other ones. It's like engineering and stuff like that. But I don't want to be quoted on that because I haven't. It's not like I look at my dad's Emmys every day and I see like, oh, this done for this. Yeah.
Okay. So he's always worked in sort of the film area, so to speak.
Yeah. He's been in. He is into that stuff, but he's more into designing cameras and communications.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because I was like, you had that video on they broke my dad's Emmy. I was like,
yeah, clickbait. Yeah, a bit of clickbait there.
Like a bit of clickbait.
Yeah, tricky little clickbait, mate.
What's your earliest memory of your childhood?
Oh, earliest memory. I think probably the time that I dropped like a full-fledged like trailer on my toe, and I not broke my toe, my toenail broke off.
Damn.
And I was like mortified. Like I was looking at it, I was like so young at the time, so I had no idea what was going on. But I'm like, what the hell? My toenails come off, kind of thing. That's probably like the earliest memory.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting. I wonder like how much of those memories like then foster into
who I
we
am.
Become later.
Yeah, I know. Probably like a little bit of PTSD from that, just like coming back to today. It's like I don't even know. I don't know.
Are there particular lessons that you find from your parents today that you like a principle or something like that you've seen directly or indirectly? Like as an example with my dad, it's all about hard work, and that was just observing him working incredibly hard. Is there something like that for you?
Yeah, I think that, well, my parents always push kindness. Like my mum and my dad are like huge inspirations to me because, well, not even just kindness, but also like they've lived apart for such a long time. Like dad's lived in America, mum's lived in Australia, but they're still together. And I think it definitely takes two kinds of people to be in a long distance relationship, especially for such a long time. Like sometimes they'll go like months without seeing each other.
Wow.
And like a lot of people, obviously they can't handle
do it. Yeah.
And I think that's pretty inspiring to me. And it just goes to show that like happiness comes from within. It's not about like other people. And like, it's great. Like when you get to obviously see your husband and wife or whatever, like it's great when you get to see that person, but you shouldn't rely on them for happiness.
Yeah. So there's like an element of being your own person there.
Yeah. Like security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to the point of, film, photography, Emmys.
Yeah.
I was intrigued, like reading, you had some notes on LinkedIn, which is super helpful, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It's
my
like,
LinkedIn account's still there?
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
It's obviously like clearly a couple years old. Like you haven't updated it for a few years, but it was useful nonetheless because you know you're gonna have to update this before this goes out now because people are gonna go find it for sure.
Yeah, you're gonna pull me up on some stuff now. I'm actually scared now. Dug myself a hole.
I find it interesting that you began making animations at 11 and then around 16 you flipped to video. How did you get into the animation side of things, and what were you making?
Animation actually, I think that I was probably around 10 or 11 when I started. I didn't even like look at anything that inspired me. I remember it was like grade 5. I think that it was then we had like the old IMAX kind of thing, and people were going on there. They were playing like mini clip. Do you know Bubble Trouble?
Yeah.
It's like, that mini game. People were playing that in their spare time. When I was like, I had no idea what I was doing, but like I was like, oh, let's test this program out. And I was always into like sort of drawing and stuff because back in the day, I used to love Pokemon, and I used to love drawing the Pokemon. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And I feel like that's where I started getting my artsy side a little bit. And so I opened this program. I'm like, okay, let's test this out. I did like these little frame by frame animations. They absolutely sucked. I think my very first animation was like, I don't even know why. Don't ask why, by the way, because I actually have no idea why. But on the internet, I went on the internet and I got a picture, like a PNG of like a cartoon baby or something, dragged it into the program, and I just animated it doing like a flip. It didn't even, like its limbs weren't even moving. It just did a flip, like a PNG just did a flip. I'm like, oh, this is cool as, I could do this. And so I just like did that for a while. Then I moved into this program. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Pivot Stick Figure.
No.
It's like a very basic animation program, but I moved into it because I saw this thing online called Stick Figures on Crack. And it was just like this compilation of just these stick figures doing these stupid things. I'm like, this is cool. I want to try this. So I started getting into that. Then I found a forum called darkdemon.org where pretty much there's like ranks of like levels that you can get to through Pivot animation, like a whole forum of people doing this animation stuff, coming together and like giving constructive criticism. It's like a YouTube, but for Pivot. And so I was on that. I started at the very beginning, like the beginner section. And then I just kept on doing stuff, kept getting criticism, kept learning from other people's animations, and eventually I ended up working my way up to the top. And then when I got to the top, I was like, oh, I'm at the top, now what? And then I kind of like lost interest in it.
Interesting.
And then my friend, well, actually, no, not my friend. Well, yeah, my friend was like saying like, oh, what do you want to, this was around like year 11 or year 12. He was thinking like, oh, like, what do you want to do like when you get out of school? And I said, oh, I want to do something with like moving images, just something with that, because I'm just super interested with that. By the way, like while I was doing animation, I was also like doing little videos and stuff.
Because you did media studies at high school, right?
Yes, I did.
So you must have like played around with cameras and whatnot.
Yeah, well, I've always been into like photography as well. Like I remember like I actually don't remember much of it, but my dad had this little like point and shoot camera, and like I would just like to use it. I would just take photos of random things. I don't know what, but I just take them, just whatever. But I've always been into like film and like taking photos and stuff. And so eventually, like I was like around year 12, I was like, okay, like I can't make a living from making pivot videos. Well, I could maybe, now that you can do YouTube, now that there's social media, you can really do anything. But realistically, I thought, okay, maybe I'll go into the film industry. And so then I went to film school, SAE Institute in Melbourne, and I realized that I didn't really like working with other people on sets because it might not be other people as such. I think it was just my experience with those people specifically. They're not bad people, but it's just like I just didn't connect with them as much.
It sort of sounds like you wanted to be able to creatively direct what was going on.
Yes, exactly. I wanted to be the director. I wanted to have full control.
Well, because you've come from that animation background where you do.
Exactly.
And that's probably why.
Exactly. And like I think that like this was also sort of like my perfectionist mindset back then. I wanted everything to like be in order kind of thing, the way that I want it to be. And I thought that if anyone else did it, it wouldn't be done well.
Yeah, and I've heard about this famed perfectionist.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah, I have it too. It's actually a really bad habit at times. Like, but I've heard you've been known to sit down and do an edit for like 12 hours straight.
Yeah. But that's editing for 12 hours straight, that's more like me getting into the flow.
Yeah.
And when I'm in the flow, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to eat. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to sleep. I forget about eating. Like it's happened sometimes when I'm editing, like especially the photo battles, they take so long and so much effort that like sometimes I'll go like 3 days of like editing, maybe like 9 to 10 hours just consecutively, and I'm like burnt out by the end of it, but it's always worth it because I'm like, yeah, good product, nice.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the burnout because that is something that I've learned. Like I'm a few years older. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay, so I'm 29 now, so I'm a few years older. I've learnt this. At the 22, I probably didn't realize it, but now at 29, like that shit will come back to haunt you, particularly later on in life where things start to get a little bit harder because you have more responsibilities or whatever. But yeah, burnout for me is not, it's not good.
No.
You got to learn at some point in the next few years that, and you had that video about talking about overwhelm, and there was a few questions about that. Learning to deal with that pressure and taking time out, which I can imagine in your mind, you're probably the type where you really struggle with it and you're always sort of in your head, right? Thinking about work or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
How have you learnt to sort of, what have you done so far to deal with it?
Well, the reason why I get burnt out, if I ever do get burnt out, is if I'm being a perfectionist because I'm being too hard on myself and I'm thinking about like, okay, what can I do to make this the best? But the thing is, I never got into animation or making videos or taking photos to make the best thing for other people. I never really did it for other people. I did it because I wanted to do it and I just wanted to see I was curious. I'm curious to see what I can make.
Yeah.
And when I have the mindset of focusing on the process rather than the actual outcome, rather than any outcome, then that's when I do, one, my best work, but two, I have the most fun with it because I'm not thinking, oh, like, what if this happens? What if this happens? Because if you're thinking about outcomes, you're thinking about the future or the past.
Yeah. And that's the issue with with anxiety and burnout is it's a constant focus on the future.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing.
100%.
And you got to bring yourself, you got to bring yourself back to reality about not focusing about the potentials, but just doing something.
Yeah.
It's very hard. It's very hard.
I'm reading that. Well, I've actually pretty much just finished reading this book. It's called The 5 Thieves of Happiness.
Uh-huh.
And the first thief is control. And when you're a perfectionist, you're a control freak because you want everything to be perfect. You're looking through this lens to the world, seeing like, okay, look for perfect rather than being like, okay, that's good enough kind of thing. And so, like with the whole outcomes and stuff, when you're focusing on that, like obviously that brings anxiety, and that makes you, it actually makes you unhappy because it takes you away from the process, which like life is not a destination. As cliche as this sounds, life is not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about getting into the flow and just having fun with it. Not about being like amazing or successful or whatever, because it's like, when you become successful, when you get, say, 1 million subscribers or whatever, you'll be like, oh yeah, cool. But then it like just dies away so quickly.
Yeah, it's what do they call that? It's sort of like lifestyle creep.
Yeah.
Everything's relative at that moment. But when you start thinking about future situations, like it's like it applies like a heavier weight to it, if that makes sense. Like if you're at like 100,000 subs and you're thinking, oh, 1 million, like you start to like it starts to apply a lot of pressure on you. But when you get there, you're probably just like,
exactly.
It's all relative. Like, oh, now I'm thinking about 10 million.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's the hardest thing to deal with.
Yeah.
And you're right. You've got to focus on the process and just enjoying what you're doing. As cliche as that sounds, once you start to do that, it becomes just a lot more enjoyable.
I have this mantra, and this is from the actual book. Every time that I think of an outcome, I say to myself, I stop myself, and then like I see myself thinking that, I stop myself and I say to myself, what was it? I'm trying to remember now. And yeah, see, now it's happening to me because I'm like thinking like, oh, like what if I don't think of the mantra kind of thing.
Yeah, it always happens at the worst fucking moment. I get this thing when I do interviews and I'm like, I raise the person's, like I talk about a topic in a certain person and I always forget like either half their name or all of their name, and I'm just like, fuck.
That's all right. It happens to everyone. No, the mantra is now it's just like, no, it's happiness is not in the outcome I seek. I choose to embrace whatever is in the present now. So like I'm taking my focus away from the actual outcome and bringing it back to the now. And the more you can practice that mantra and just like let go and be like, just kind of go with the flow of things. 1, you'll experience a lot less anxiety. 2, you'll be chasing less. So like instead of being like, okay, 1 million subscribers, just be like, okay, like I'm cool with whatever amount of subscribers. And then you don't think about it. Because like that shit actually doesn't matter. Am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
You can swear,
that shit, it just doesn't matter. Like what matters is reality, is what's happening now. Because if you're looking so forward to things in the future, or you're looking, just whatever in the future, then it's like you're rushing towards it, and then you won't have trained your mind to be present, so you won't actually fully experience it.
Yeah, it's about like so this is something that I spoke with my psychologist about a while ago, and like the more that you focus on being mindful, the more you build up that habit. Yeah. And so your habit, I think the fact that you're wary of it is a start, and that's the best thing that people can do. I don't know if you meditate, but I find like meditating
every day
is really, really helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get better and better over time. But at the beginning, it's fucking hard. Oh. You realize that you find yourself just like, I'm often like in eyes glazed over mode.
Yeah.
So like if I'm in like one of those moods and Lauren and I are like out getting lunch or something like that, and I can just be like, we'll be eating. She's like, oh, so how's your day, man? I'm just like, Just staring into the abyss, like fucking chewing glass. I'm like, this is what running a business is like. But
yeah, no shit.
Yeah, it's a very, very useful practice. It's probably one of the top 3 most useful things I've learned in the last 5 years.
I think so as well. Mindfulness is, and it's just like anything. When you're practicing something, especially when I think it's a mental practice. It's you can trip yourself over a little bit because being a perfectionist, you're kind of thinking like, okay, like mindfulness, okay, like I'll focus on the moment and then it's like everything will be fine. But no, it's a practice. You're going to suck at it at the start because it's just like playing tennis. If you've never played tennis before and you play against a pro, then it's like you're obviously going to lose. You're going to get smashed. It's because you haven't practiced. Everything is a practice. You have to have the mindset. It's called the growth mindset where you have like, you just assume it's like beginner's minds. Like when you're meditating, you just assume that like when you come to every meditation, you just assume that you don't know anything. You don't know what you're doing, but you're just going to do it because you know that the more you do it, the more you practice it, the better you'll get at it inevitably. But you don't do it with the expectation of being good at it. I think when people expect that, that's when they set themselves up for disappointment. And then they're just like, oh, meditating's not for me.
Another thing with that is surrounding yourself with good people, which reminds me of Mike and Liam.
Yeah, they're great.
How did you meet them?
So I met them, well, for the first year and a half of YouTube, I was doing it all myself. Like every single video I was doing myself. And one of Mike's friends ended up like messaging him saying, oh, you should check this guy out. He's from like Gippsland. And so then Mike messaged me. We ended up meeting up, going on a photo shoot together, ended up connecting really well. And then Mike introduced me to Liam and I met Lamont through Mike as well.
There you go.
So social media.
As simple as that. Yeah. It's the same thing. Like I think Mike was shooting with his skateboarding mates and then he got into photography and Liam sort of started out in a similar way. And then they were just taking photos on Instagram and they noticed each other via some hashtag or some photo that Liam took or made or whatever. Yeah. And they just caught up. And then I just remember hearing the story. It was fucking funny. Like Liam was like, thought that Mike was some dodgy guy. Yeah,
it's a good story.
Yeah. He didn't actually know who he was, or didn't like really trust who he was, and and they caught up, and here we go. And do you guys consider yourself all part of the eggplant gang, or is it like a specific?
Here we go. Bloody eggplant gang. I don't know where this came from. I think that Mike ended up making it up just because he thought like, oh, eggplant looks like a dick. It's a good emoji. Done. And he just like spammed it. And then he told everyone to spam Nikon's Instagram page with the eggplants. And like, it just became a meme from then. And then like someone actually ended up making an Instagram account called the Eggplant Gang. And it's actually a great Instagram account. Like if you haven't followed it, the viewers, everyone watching, definitely follow it because like they post a whole lot of like images from random people, not just from like us, from like other photographers. They're just getting out there, just having fun doing their thing. And it's a great source of inspiration. But it's just funny because the Eggplant Gang is just nothing that we've taken seriously. I don't call myself a part of the Eggplant Gang. Like,
yeah, there's nothing in your Instagram bio about it, but it's just like this little internal meme that you guys have got going on.
Yeah.
I do like it though. I got to ask, you studied at SAE, you finished up. I remember watching, I think it was your second video was when you'd finished up and you eating like a Milky Bar or something like that to celebrate your first 100 subs.
Oh, that was, vlog 6.
Was it?
It's so funny because I remember like every single vlog pretty much which number it is.
Okay. So tell me about what made you go into YouTube. Because you're probably thinking in your head, you finish up at uni, all right, I'm going to get into what? Films in general? Try and get some work as a freelancer? How did you go, well, I'm just going to jump straight into YouTube?
Well, with SAE, like, as I said before, like working with other people, the people there, I kind of assumed that I just didn't want to work with other people in general. Now that I've like kind of like worked with Mark and Liam and that's just the kind of thing that's just gone away now. And I'm happy to work with other people. I love working with other people. But what I did in film school was there was a trimester where we were doing documentary filmmaking. And originally I thought that I would be the kind of person to go into normal filmmaking, traditional kind of filmmaking. But when I tried doing this documentary filmmaking, I said to the teacher, I was like, look, I want to do this whole thing myself. And at first he like really doubted me and stuff. He's like, everyone's got a set, everyone's got editors and everything. I'm just like, trust me, I can do it all myself. And he's like, all right, good luck kind of thing. Like he doubted me for sure. And so my idea was actually, I wanted to go overseas to make a documentary of an aerial skier in Utah, Park City, Utah in the US. And he's my friend. He's actually from Melbourne. But at the time he was doing aerial skiing. Anyway, so yeah, I said that to the teacher. He's just like, dude, you're doing this by yourself. You can't go over to America to do this. I'm like, okay, watch me. So I did all the paperwork and I got everything sorted with the folio and stuff. And I showed him all of the process. And he's like, well, I can't say no. You've done all the work. So good luck kind of thing. Flew over to America with my dad. I did have my dad helping me out. It was awesome. Shout out to Nige. Yeah, I was over there, filmed everything, got drone shots of him like doing flips and stuff. Came back, edited it all up. And I loved the whole process of doing everything myself. And that's when I was like, okay, how can I be a filmmaker and do it all myself? Like be in full control. And I was thinking, okay, YouTube. YouTube is perfect because it's like you can literally make a new story whenever you want on your own terms and you just upload it and like just share it with the world. And so that's why I got into YouTube. I just want to be paid to do what I love.
Yeah.
That's just
mainly on your own.
Yeah,
mainly
on
having
my own. Full
creative control. So how early did you find out about Casey Neistat?
I found out about him before I even started YouTube. He was the reason why I was like, okay, this guy's literally just documenting his life. He's not even like putting a whole lot of effort into these edits or anything like that. He's just doing it, executing onto the next thing. This is when he was doing daily, which he was a machine. Like he inspired so many people. And I think that the reason why he was so inspirational to me and to so many other people is the fact that his content is so human and it's not perfect. It's the opposite of perfect. And then when you release content that's the opposite of perfect, then people are like, I can do this as well. I like the fact that this is imperfect because the more imperfect something is, the more human something is. And so I went into YouTube being like, okay, if Casey can do it, I can do it. I'm going to make these videos. I don't care if they're good. I don't care if they're bad. I just want to do them. I just want to make them imperfect and just like I just wanted to do it. And so I just did it with low expectations. And then that's how I got started.
Do you think in hindsight now where there are, because you're now at like, I think it's last time I checked last night, it was about 805,000 subs on YouTube, probably
Really?
200,000.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Because I don't check.
Well, I didn't even know what the number was. I didn't even know what Liam and Mike have. I just watched the videos because it comes up in my sub feed, and that's what I watch I literally just watch YouTube every day. I watch Netflix if there's like a good movie out, or something like that. But it's literally just YouTube.
That's awesome.
And
YouTube's mint.
I never actually checked what you guys have in sub count, and so I went and looked, and then I think Instagram. I felt like I wrote it down somewhere, but like I'm missing it somewhere. But it's around like 200,000 or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
So like I'm curious. You were doing, you're celebrating your 100 subs with this Milky Bar or Mars bar, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What do you think were like the key moments in that process to where you are now? Like when do you think you realized, okay, I'm really fucking onto something and I've got to continue with this?
Well, I think the whole time, like even from the beginning, I sort of had this belief that like I don't know whether you would call it arrogant or not, but like I just knew that I was going to make it. I just knew. And like I just chose to have that belief. And anyone can choose to have that belief. But a lot of people have limiting beliefs, and then that's when you have to train yourself to get like more optimistic and stuff. Anyway, I always kind of knew, but like when it was more like it was a matter of when, rather than like when it was going to take off. And then that's when I was kind of like looking at other people's stuff, and this was around the time of like maybe 1,000 subs and stuff. I was like thinking, okay, just making my videos, I might make it eventually, but like I think that there's got to be something that can sort of kickstart it so I have initial traction. And so I saw Peter McKinnon's video. It was 9 camera hacks in like 90 seconds or something. And so I was like, okay, that thumbnail, like I looked at the thumbnail, I'm like, that is probably the best thumbnail I've ever seen. He had like a knife in front of the lens, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna copy this. And so I pretty much copied it. I didn't copy it. It was like, I think like 2 of the camera hacks. I hate the word hack. It's so like cheesy and childish. I think 2 of them or 1 of them was like sort of taken from his video, but most of them were just other ones that I've taken from other videos. But also there was like probably 3 or 4 that I just knew myself from film school, but also just as it is. So I just compiled them all together in like it was like 10 camera hacks in less than. So not 9 camera hacks in 90 seconds, less than 100 seconds. And because I think that people are so impatient, people just want value, like right now kind of thing. People are, yeah.
Yeah, that less than thing was key. I remember seeing that video when it came out.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, oh, he's cracked it here.
Yeah,
you could tell when you look back at your earlier videos, the thumbnails, the titles, you were sort of refining that process along the way. And you could sort of see with the momentum that you were growing, you were getting better and better at both the thumbnail process and the title itself.
Yeah.
You got to love like the name of some of the titles.
Oh, it's a pisser. Yeah, it's a pisser. But as I said, it's the same as anything. Like for the first year or so of YouTube, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just doing.
Yeah.
And by doing, that's when I like every time I would learn something new. And it's that learning something new, that's when you are practicing. And the more you're practicing, you'll get better at it. Like with whether it be thumbnails, whether it be filmmaking, storytelling, whatever it is. Like I would be a much worse filmmaker. Like imagine if the whole time, like maybe the past, like it's around like nearly 3 years that I've been on YouTube now. It's coming up to 3 years. Imagine if the past 3 years I've been spending all this time on one film.
Yeah. Or like just, student film projects or local film projects. You get nowhere.
Yeah.
And like there's all these people out there with incredible talent doing that. Like just, I know like Lauren's had experience she did production design for 2 student films.
Yeah.
Because she was a graphic designer and you got to do like a unit outside of graphic design and yada, yada, yada. And just there's so many people in like local scenes that are stuck in that old analog world.
Yeah.
I find.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I'm thinking about what you said earlier about the fact that you just want to be a guy, creative decisions are your own, you're telling a story, much in the mold of Casey Neistat, but in your own unique way. And I'm thinking, how does someone longer term pay their bills, put food on the table, live their life? I know you've got things like Epidemic Sounds where you get referrals, people use that, you get a kickback. That's sort of the standard for, your Peter McKinnons of the world, where you put like a link to Amazon or whatever it may be. You've got ad revenue. What's sort of the supreme scenario for you where you can make enough money to be happy and survive? What does that look like? Is it paid work for clients, or would you prefer ad revenue or something like that?
Well, one of the main things with going into YouTube is like one of the main things that I love about it is the fact that you have your own creative ability to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I'm fine doing like client work and stuff, but it's come to a point where I work so hard on my videos and I work so often on my videos that I don't like to spend time on other people's videos. Like that sounds pretty egotistical, but like I think that I do the best work when I have the full creative control over it. And I don't have full creative control a lot of the time over other client work.
Yeah, because they define the brief.
Yeah, I don't really like answering to other people. This also comes down to my very first job. I ended up getting fired because I spilt. I was a bartender and a waiter at the country club in Warragul.
Okay.
And I spilt drinks all over people.
I've done that.
Yeah.
What did you spill?
Red wine.
Same.
On like a 93-year-old lady's brand new white jacket. And she's like, it was her birthday as well. Anyway, that sucked. And I think that's the reason why I got fired. And then ever since then, I'm like, no, I'm not working for anyone else. Anyway, I like the idea of working with, well, AdSense. AdSense is like, yeah, you get nothing. Yeah, you pretty much get nothing. You have to be like making like a mil like views every video or something for it to be something.
Yeah.
But the second thing would be working with other companies. Like Epidemic Sound is great because it lines up with my values and what I do. The people from Epidemic Sound are amazing. And so like it's like the stories behind Epidemic. That's why I use their stuff. I get emails all the time of people saying like, oh, try out my new camera product and stuff and try out this, that. Sometimes it's not even camera products and they'll just want me to like promote it. And I could easily do it. I could easily make money out of that stuff. But the thing is, I choose not to because one, I'm actually fortunate enough to live with my parents at the moment. So I don't have to pay for bills or anything. I'm super grateful for that because not many people have that opportunity.
No.
But I make the most of it because like if I don't have to focus on that stuff, I'm going to focus 100% on this stuff on YouTube, which is going to be the future where I can pay for stuff. And like in the next like year or something, I'll be financially independent now, but like I just choose to still live with my parents.
Yeah.
That's just a choice.
I think that's a common thing that that Liam and Mike had as well. Like if you're at this age where you can do that, it is the best time to be doing that.
Go
because
all in.
You've got that, you go 100% all in because you've got that fallback. I mean, I think about, the fact that Liam spoke how he was like 2 weeks into uni and he was just like, don't know about this. And I think that really highlights it is if you've got that mindset and you want to do this thing in the long term, now if at the age of under 25, if you're still living at home, is definitely the time to be doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
And eventually you get to a point where you guys are sort of, you built up enough of a following, like you said, that you can basically, like if your parents turned around tomorrow and kicked you out of home, you'd probably be okay.
I would be fine.
Yeah.
And if it meant that I would have to do a little bit more brand deals and stuff, so be it.
Yeah.
Like I need to be able to survive. But I don't like saturating, like, because every video that I make, I see it as like it's a piece of art that I've made, and anything that has anything like corporate outside of it that doesn't align with my art or my values, I hate having that in my videos. It feels like a part of my soul is like gone from it because I put it in my videos. Like I hate this, just me. Like I don't shit on other creators for doing this because people have to make a living.
Yeah.
But for me, I would hate to have like a full minute saying like, all right, this is a Squarespace ad, like whatever. I'm not talking shit about Squarespace, but like, yeah, it's, you know what I mean?
It's hard.
Everything is like, I just want it to be as short and concise and interesting as possible. And like having a minute ad on a YouTube video when the start of a YouTube video already has an ad or two. It's like, come on.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because like the ad CPM on AdSense is horrendous. Like
it's terrible.
It's so cheap. Like let's say podcasts, I think the CPM is like 20 to 30 US per thousand, and then on YouTube it's like $2 to $8 US.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's chump change.
It's fucking nothing.
Yeah.
All right, so we know where you're going with YouTube. We spoke about the overwhelm with social. I noticed that you guys have all moved to TikTok recently.
Yeah.
We've had a bit of fun with TikTok. We've had videos, like we're absolute nobodies, and we've had fucking videos with like 40,000 views, which just goes to prove the point.
That's amazing.
It goes to prove the point that like the discoverability on TikTok is amazing.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Nobody cares about you though on it.
No one cares about you.
No.
The following, the sense of having a real community and following is way less than, it's very similar to Twitter in that regard.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like it's way less than YouTube, Instagram or Facebook. So what are you thinking about the state of social media? I know it's harder for people to grow on your Instagrams of the world. What are you thinking about when it comes to attention on social media at the moment? Or are you not thinking about it at all?
I watch a lot of Gary V's stuff.
Yeah.
And the reason why I actually went onto TikTok is because of Gary Vee. I was like, oh, Gary Vee's doing it, I'm going to do it.
I noticed all three of you did it at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I did it. And
now's the time.
Yeah. I saw the video and I was like, boys, we need to get onto TikTok. And we're like, all right, done. We all made an account, all of us, even Tom Noski and stuff. Like, we're all just a club of us photographers just made an account. And actually, I think Tom had it before us. Anyway, yeah, it's funny because the videos that I've made in my vlogs, I could cut them down into little TikToks as it was. So I didn't have to go out and film anything for TikTok.
Yeah.
Which was so easy because like I just spent one day. I was like, okay, I'm just going to dedicate one day to just making as many TikToks as possible. And I think it was like 8 TikToks in one day, which was just the videos that I've already made, which essentially the videos on my TikTok are like, okay, what we're doing in photography, but they've like all got good angles and stuff because they're from the vlogs. And then it'll like have us doing the thing in photography, and then I'll have the outcome, like the actual photo.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Like the way that you guys have set it up, you've clearly got the format.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's easy because it's 15 seconds. So it's just like, it's the same with the camera hacks video or the photography ideas videos. The ones that go viral are the ones that are like, okay, this is what it is. This is the outcome. This is the process. This is the outcome kind of thing. Like just really quick so that people can be like, okay, like this is an idea. I can do this myself. And then that's what makes it really shareable. And the fact that it's so short and punchy makes it really shareable. So 15-second videos on TikTok, you can post them. And like, I remember the first, I posted like 8 videos or something, or like 5 videos in the first day. Now I kept like 3 just to like post the next day or whatever, just to have like a sort of like folio there. And I think it was the 5th video that I posted in that one day ended up getting like 1 million views in a day.
The one with the,
yeah,
what was it? The
paint powder.
The powder, that's it.
Yeah. And I think that, I don't know how, because I never actually look at the views anymore, but like sometimes when you go to post something, it just comes up eventually and it's just like far out. I don't want to look at it, but it's there.
Yeah, you went from a couple thousand followers to like 1 million or something like that, didn't you?
Not 1 million. It was
like
over the actual video got I think that's at like 11 million or something now.
That's right, the video. Sorry,
yeah,
the video had that amount of views, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" I remember chatting to Liam about it. I said to Liam, "Oh, man, you guys have like
it's just a meme
blown up on
it's just, yeah,
on TikTok." He's like, "Mate, have you seen Hayden's?" And he forwarded me the video. I was like, "But yeah, that just they're more it's more ephemeral, right? Like, as in it, like it." I think, is that the word? Like, it sort of dissipates a lot quicker.
Yes.
People will just look at it and they'll just flick to the next one.
Cool. Then it's just like, yeah.
And that's it.
That's definitely what I think.
That's one of the downsides, I think.
Well, I think that, the only reason I actually went on TikTok is, originally it was to build, it was just another platform because I've already made the content. So I may as well just share it on another platform so I can get like whatever audience that's on there to come across to my YouTube, because at the end of the day, like the stuff on Instagram, yeah, cool. The stuff on TikTok, yeah, cool. But like the stuff that's on YouTube, that's what I want people to see, because that's the stuff that I feel can personally impact other people. Like that's like full stories that I've put my heart and soul into. Whereas like, as I said, the TikToks are just a little tiny snippet of those vlogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about storytelling off air before. That was one of the key things you learned at uni.
Yes.
I've noticed there are key differences in the style between you, Mike, Lean, and Lamont as well. Like, it's very obvious that Mike's style is very much street-based, like run and gun, very, not grungy, but like, you know, he'll open up the vlog and say, "Hey guys, fuck you, how the fuck you doing?" or something like that.
Yeah, that's just, yeah.
How would you describe your style?
Oh, see, personally, I actually hate the word style, just because like I feel like style is like a bit of a pigeonholing kind of word. It's like, okay, my style is this. Oh, well, I better stick to this then. It's like saying like 7th era's style is blues. It's like, yeah, it's a meme, but like that's just something he chooses to do now, and he might change it later. But when it comes down to, I guess if you said that mine was a style, I think that my style is just a whole bunch of accumulation of different creators' styles that I've kind of mashed together into mine, but also kind of a part of my film school lecturer as well. I don't know. Yeah.
I would say, there's a few things that, so I would say style is more like you can see someone's personality in the way that they film.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the things they were giving you shit about. Like, you say, really?
Yeah, really?
You have a sort of bombasticness to your style a lot. Like, it, and you can tell even the way meeting you downstairs, the way that you speak, like the projection of your voice is like one of your key attributes, I think.
Enthusiasm.
Very, like, enthusiastic, and, like, you can really... Like, Liam is, like, quite softly spoken.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, my name's like...
It sounds like he's high all the time.
He does. He sounds like... And that's Liam's style, and everyone loves that. But, like, and yours is really projected. Like, I could tell that, like, if you were a singer, you'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, just go all the way. Yeah.
So... I think there's definitely like certain attributes about someone that you start to see in their style and the way that they tell their stories as well.
Yeah.
Is there a
agree.
certain thing that you love? Like I'm about to read this book by Joseph Campbell. It's called, I think it's A Hero with 1,000 Faces or 1,000 Faces of a Hero. And it's about the classic arc of the story and how they're typically structured and how he sort of looks at it. Do you have anything like that really inspires you?
Yeah, well, you mean the structure of my videos?
Yeah.
Sort of. The way that I like to structure my videos is with something it might be talked about in that book is called the hero's journey model.
Yeah.
And so that's like you have the character, like they have goals, they have needs. Obviously in my vlogs, like I don't really have needs. Like it's not like I'm having a full character development kind of thing, but I do have goals, and like my goal usually is getting the shot in photography, and so that's why like at the start it's like the story of me realizing that goal. That's how I structure my videos. There's like the inciting incident, which is what incites me to go out on my journey, which usually is when it starts off with me saying like, all right, today I want to do this because maybe I saw this or I thought of this. That's what incited me to do it. And then I go into the midpoint, which is where something might happen. It might not happen, but if it does, it might be something like, I don't know, maybe like I miss a taxi, or I go into like an Uber pool instead of like a proper Uber. Like in the photo battle that happened, it's like something bad happens that like kind of takes me away from my goal. But then like the climax is like, will I realize my goal or not? And then the resolution is where I talk about the photos at the end and like, did I realize it? Yes or no kind of thing.
That is something that you guys do really, really well. And
Yeah,
I had wondered about that. Like, is that something that Hayden brings to the table that he learnt at school?
Yeah, I taught them.
Because I sort of can see how their own style has changed in that regard. Like they've integrated. It's sort of like people would say it's injecting a sense of drama, but I think it's just crafting the story better because it's already happening.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. It's just how you showcase it.
Yeah, it's the art of storytelling. Like sometimes I used to do this in my vlogs. Sometimes I would say something to make it more exaggerated or to raise the stakes.
Yeah.
To make it more like, or like I want the audience to feel a certain way, but now I'm much more towards the authentic side, whether they feel that or not. I don't really care. It's just more like I want to just tell the story for what it is. But there is definitely an art in the craft of storytelling where you raise the stakes and you make the audience feel a certain way. Because I think that at the end of the day, I want to be making films where people feel something. I want people to really, like, if I want people to laugh, I want it to hit that, you know? Like, I want people to laugh. And that's why, like, in some scenes where it's really tense, I use epic, tense music to make it more tense. And sometimes people can think that it's, like, a bit over the top. But that's, like, a creative decision that I make, and like I'll get better at kind of like gauging that as I go.
So you must love looking at, because I love this. I love like cinema craft. That's been like my real, like not so much hobby, but the thing I love watching on YouTube at the moment and Instagram. Like like cinema effects are some of like my favorite Instagram sort of I guess profiles to follow and how things have been done. And like I love learning little things like how in like Dunkirk I learned recently, like the entire song or track is structured so it feels like you're in a constant crescendo.
Yeah, crescendo. Yeah.
So it feels like the audience is always on edge no matter what's happening.
Yeah.
And if you remove the music, it actually, like in a lot of cases, it's sort of just like with the natural background noise behind it, just sounds like sometimes people are just at a beach.
I know.
And so I find that stuff super fascinating in the way that music in particular can be used for that, or audio in particular can be used for that.
Yeah. It's crazy. Hans Zimmer and
he's a fucking genius.
Him and Christopher Nolan together are just unbeatable.
So I've got a real penchant for like modern orchestral sort of electronic music, and I've noticed so many songs in that playlist are like Hans Zimmer songs.
Yeah.
Like his Inception soundtrack is unbelievable.
It's my favorite. Yeah, it's my favorite that he's done. I love Mountains. I love Cornfield Chase. Yeah, I know the actual like names of the songs. That's when you know that you're a real filmmaker. You know the songs of soundtracks. Anyway, yeah.
So if you're thinking about YouTube, what you're doing now with the guys in your own style, what do you think the future holds? What do you really want for the next few years?
Next few years, I just honestly want to just keep doing what I'm doing, just having fun, being my weird self, and just I want to inspire other people to have the courage to stand alone and be themselves despite external circumstances. And so if I can do that through YouTube, if I can be myself, no matter what anyone else thinks, no matter what any external circumstances are, then I can inspire other people to do that as well. So as long as if I'm doing that, whether it be on YouTube or whatever, in the best way that I can do it, that's what I want to be doing for the next few years. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I just don't know whether I would do it on YouTube or whether I would go into the film industry. For now, I think, I can't see myself getting off YouTube anytime soon.
No.
Anytime soon.
I would worry if you or any of those guys said, I'm going to quit YouTube.
Oh.
I'd be genuinely worried for your mental. I'd be like following up straight away, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, nah. Yeah. And the thing is, because I love YouTube. Like, YouTube, if there wasn't any YouTube, like I would still be making films, but it's a way for me to share my gift with the world in a way that I want to share it, and it's perfect for that.
If YouTube, I know there's no real YouTube competitor, but if tomorrow all of a sudden they were in trouble and they were shutting down and people were moving off the platform, realistically, what platform would people be moving to, do you think?
Oh, what else is that? The only closest competitor is Vimeo, I think.
Maybe Twitch, because you can watch Twitch clips now.
Can you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Because there's a competitor to Twitch now that Ninja and a few others have moved off to.
Really? Ninja has?
Yeah, because Twitch have not been good with their revenue sharing.
Interesting.
They've started cutting more and more commission-wise, and I'm pretty sure he was offered a deal that was just too good to refuse. Like,
oh no!
I think it was in the tens of millions for like 3 years or something like that. So he couldn't not turn around. I mean, what does he care? I mean, he's got an audience; they're going to follow him. Doesn't really matter.
I think that it would be interesting because it's kind of similar with Uber. Like when Uber came out. This is just from talking to other Uber drivers, so don't quote me on this. But I'm pretty sure when Uber came out, it was really cheap, and that's why it did really well. Like all the other competitors, there wasn't really any other, I think there were other competitors at the time. I don't know.
They were on their own for quite a while.
Yeah, but like...
And now there's Didi and Ola.
But Uber has now like the sharing percentage is much like... It's much worse for the actual drivers.
Yeah.
Whereas now like Diddy and stuff, they're like much better for the drivers. But it'll be interesting to see if that changes over time because more people are using it.
I love chatting with Uber drivers about this.
I know.
Because I was talking with Dre before in the kitchen about this. I fucking hate Diddy. Because they can see where you're going, and often they cancel or they just accept the ride and they drive away to another ride on Ola or Uber or whatever it may be. So I exclusively use Uber now because I had those issues with Diddy and Ola. But I understand why drivers use it because the commission is like half. Like it's like 15 or 10% on Diddy and Ola, and then it's like 30% on Uber.
Really?
But you get more rides on Uber. Like, you can be guaranteed that you would get close to non-stop rides with Uber, but you won't get that on Diddy.
Yeah.
So that's what they've got to do, is they've got to mix and match between the two of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know, YouTube's a hard one because it's like a network effect. It just builds and builds and builds. There's so many hours of content uploaded on YouTube.
Oh, every day.
My frustration with YouTube is the revenue sharing element, how much you guys get in AdSense, the problems with like algorithms and censoring and all that. It's a really complex beast now.
Yeah.
It was a lot simpler about 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's interesting to see it develop because, as I said, I've only been on YouTube for just under 3 years now, and it's like, yeah, like when I was going into YouTube, it was like that whole worry of the adpocalypse, and I could easily, like, that was when PewDiePie did like the racist jokes and stuff, and I could have easily been like, oh no, maybe I shouldn't go into YouTube because like YouTube will probably like shut down or anything. Because like people were actually saying that to me. They were like, how are you going to make money? Like they're pulling ads from YouTube. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to make videos. Like,
yeah, you'll work it out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. And the thing is, and having my videos out there as it is, like, that's stuff, like, this is me practicing my craft. I'm just putting it somewhere. I just wanted to do something.
You said before about the fact that you just want to get people to get out there and do stuff. That is a key question amongst all of you guys that we repeatedly get. What camera should I start with? How did you, like, what would you say to someone who has 100 subscribers? All these sort of things. And so what I want to do now, apart from the obvious thing that we've spoken about, is just to get out there and do it.
Yeah.
Can we put it in the bed once and for all? Today, if you were starting, what are the key things you'd think about, first of all? And then what would your kit look like? And let's just assume you've got $5,000 to spend.
Okay.
What would you do?
Okay.
In your first 100 days?
Okay. If I'm just starting out, I need a phone, so that phone would have a camera. Starting out, I would just record on my phone, and then I would edit. I would get a subscription to Adobe so I could use Premiere, edit them up. You don't even need Premiere, but this is just what I would do. With the $5,000, if I spent that on the phone, that would be probably like $1,000 because I like a good iPhone.
Yeah.
And lighting is super important. If I had my own studio, setting up like I would get 2 softbox lights.
Okay.
So a diffuser on both of them, so it's like nice and soft on the face. Ideally, you would get 3, but if we're saving money here, 2's fine. 1 is actually fine. You can get away with 1, but 3-point lighting is always the best. You have your key light, your fill light, and then your backlight.
Yeah.
That's something I learned in film school. And what else would I get? Spending that already, that's probably around $2,000.
Yeah.
Like not even $2,000. So you can get started with a decent setup for $2,000, but like it doesn't even need to be $2,000. You could do $500. Like you could get the most basic as flip camera or whatever, and a microphone.
Audio.
I love audio. I love good audio. You can have the worst looking visuals and good audio and people will still listen to it.
I've been saying that for a while now.
Yeah.
The one thing that people complain about all the time is audio.
Yeah.
They never complain about video. I've noticed that. Because video is at a point now where you can sort of, the bandwidth is good enough on internet, you can see it, right? But video, there's nothing fucking worse, man.
No.
I've listened to some shocking podcasts where it's like...
What's the point? Like, what is the point? Especially if it's a podcast, you're listening to people for that long. Like, you want it to be good. Like, this is pretty crisp. This audio is crisp as.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
The thing that I hate the most about audio is when you're listening to a podcast or a YouTube channel and you've got it, like, I feel like 3/4 volume is like the perfect, you should be able to hear it well enough at like 3/4, I find.
Yeah.
But if you go full and you still cannot hear properly what they're saying, that's a fucking bad sign, man.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I fucking really hate that.
Sometimes that's happened to me before. Like, I remember this happens like in my vlogs when it's it might be in a situation where someone's talking too softly and the around sound, like if we're out on a street or something, it's too loud. So I'd have to like have subtitles to like say what they're saying kind of thing. But this one time I was, it was for film school. The second documentary that I did a documentary on a band called The Bad Loves. And obviously, you know, Jimmy Barnes. I ended up interviewing him for this documentary, and it was very run and gun. Like, he was backstage, he was just about to perform, and I just like went up to his personal assistant or whatever. I said, can you please just get him to like just talk to me for like 1 minute? And she sort of said no, and I'm just like, I kind of just like went against it. And then like I was like, oh, Jimmy, can I just get a word from you really quickly? And he's like, yeah, we'll just do it really quick, like 1 minute kind of thing. And my microphone was on plus 20 decibels, so it's just way too loud.
Shit.
So like when I looked back on it, when I got it, I was like, hell yes, this is such a good interview. Look back on it, and it's from Jimmy Barnes. If you don't know who Jimmy Barnes is, he's an Australian. Yeah, he's an Australian rock legend. Well, yeah. But he's from England or something, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound like an idiot now. Anyway. Yeah, I looked back on it and the audio sucked, but I had to use it because it was Jimmy Barnes. So I just used subtitles and it was good enough. But yeah, audio, man.
Do you know what I've found? This is what I found through my research the other night when we were buying all those the lavalier setup and the shotguns and all that. There's this new element in the sound technology where on the recent Star Wars movie they used for the shotgun mics. I've forgotten the name of the brand. I'll make sure we link it, but it was like Audio. It wasn't Audio Technica, I know that, but it was like called Audio or Audio something, and it's like a $2,000 lavalier unit.
Really?
So it's fucking expensive.
It's very expensive.
But it is so good. It does two things. One, you can hook it up to a shotgun, so the quality is that good. You can switch between analog and digital sound, which means that when you come into post, you can do this thing where you can actually adjust. Like, let's say you record it in -20, 0, and +20 decibels. You can actually adjust. It's got this dynamic range. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It had this dynamic range. So it's on that, and it's on the new Zoom F6 as well.
Yeah.
It's this new thing that they're talking about where it's like it records. It's sort of like with the new iPhone 11 Pros, it takes like 6 photos or something.
Yeah.
It's like the audio is recording at multiple levels at the same time.
And it captures it.
That's the only way I know how to explain it. It's really kooky, but because like normally when you record audio, it's just like one track, one level. That's it. That's all you got.
Yeah.
You can try and turn it up and down. But if it's like muffled and something like that, it's just going to sound like a softer version of muffled.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really interesting to see that sort of stuff develop, and the technology is way more forgiving nowadays.
Oh, I know. Like if we did this, like you couldn't do YouTube or any of that like 20 years ago, or like
no, you definitely couldn't.
Even 10 years ago. How long has YouTube been? It's like 13
I think
years?
it's around. I'm just thinking like your Shane Dawson's of the world, sort of were the beginners. They started around 2007, 8.
Yeah, it's 2006 was the first YouTube video.
When MySpace was sort of finishing.
Oh, MySpace.
So that was
Did you
like,
ever have MSN?
Yeah.
What was your email back in the day?
I think it was like Michaelides or something like that. So
that's not bad.
So I changed the I and my last name to an O. Actually, you know, Lauren and I first spoke to each other on MSN. That's how we actually met.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
We've been going out for 12 years.
Oh my God.
And we met because we had a mutual friend at a party. She says we met at a party, but I was too drunk to remember that. I don't think it actually happened because I don't normally forget that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we spoke on MSN, and then we actually properly met at a party after that. Because she's like, "Oh, I'm going to this party tonight. You and your friend should come." And then
what emoji did she use when she sent that?
I don't think people like back then. Like, I'm 7 years older than you or more, right? So we didn't really use like picture-based emojis. It was just like text-based emojis.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's so funny, man.
We had the logs as well of the conversations, and then we somehow lost it.
Oh no!
And I just wish I really wish I kept it.
It's like a time capsule.
I know.
Holy shit.
Before we get into some rapid fire questions, I want to ask you some fast questions on your own kit. What's your main camera? What glass are you using? What drone are you using? Give us what's in your backpack at the moment.
Okay, what's in my camera bag? I've got a Sony A7S Mark II with a battery pack on it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Rode VideoMic Pro Plus with a dead cat on it to stop the wind sound. I've got a 16-35 Zeiss f4. That's like my main vlogging lens.
Yeah.
I'm using a lot of lenses from Sigma. I have the Sigma 14mm f1.8.
So it's just flat 14mm.
Yes.
So it must be like a really wide.
Yeah, it's wide angle, but it's really good for vlogging, and especially having the f1.8, which is the wide aperture, you can get a lot of light into the sensor, but also the bokeh in the background is really nice. Anyway, I have a 55mm Zeiss 1.8. I have a 85mm, I think, G Master 1.4, which is amazing for portraits. I have a 24-70 G Master f2.8. I have a I'm just trying to think.
There's a fucking lot of glass in there.
Yeah.
It's scaring me how much that would have cost in total.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And a 28mm f2 and
So this is very funny. You speak about all these lenses, and I remember when I spoke to Liam and Mike when we're going through like buying myself a camera rig, and they're like, just get the first one that you mentioned, that Zeiss. What is it? 25-70 or was
24-70?
24-70.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone talks about that being on the Sony A series, like the lens to get.
Oh yeah, it's
and it's quite affordable.
Yeah, definitely. If I was to get any lens, if I was to choose any lens
Just
out of
one?
all of them, just one, it would be the 24-70, just because it's so versatile. With 24mm, you can zoom it out, you can vlog with it. It's not too close up, it's not too wide. It's perfect really for vlogging. But 70mm, you can zoom in a fair bit to see stuff that's further away, and you get that short depth of field with the f2.8 as well.
Yeah.
It's a great lens.
Yeah. Do you use your drone much? I know we watched the drone battle the other night.
Yes, I use my drone a fair bit. I used to use it a lot more, but whenever I can, I'll use it. I love flying the drone around. I get a little bit nervous still, even today, like just flying it. Especially, I think that like having that flashback of flying it into the Yarra River in Melbourne, that wasn't ideal. I had CASA actually ring me about that because someone anonymously reported me saying that like you flew this in a zone which was illegal, which is fair enough because it was illegal, but god damn it, mate.
That's fucking annoying.
Yeah, but that was like, but I got a new drone after that because like this company D1 store, they said, oh, we saw that you lost your Mavic, we can sort you out with a new one kind of thing. So I was like, mint, awesome. But yeah, I am kind of worried about flying it sometimes, even flying it, especially flying it over water.
Yeah. Anytime it's windy, you got to be worried.
Yeah.
I remember like me and my cousin-in-law, we used to build drones together, and you can just, it's a good way to blow a fuckload of money, I think.
Oh, like FPV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not like actual like DJI Mavics or anything, like carbon fiber body type stuff.
I have someone, I did a vlog with someone that made his own thing back in Warrigal. His name's Johnny Charles. Yeah.
Yeah. They're nuts. They're absolutely insane. And my cousin-in-law still doesn't. He just wears goggles and just flies it around everywhere. It's crazy.
It's so cool, but yeah, you can blow a lot of money on it.
All right, rapid fire questions.
All right, let's do this.
The key to this is short and fast. Because many people, you ask them a question, it's like 15 minutes later.
Just keep, yeah. I'm really good at rambling. So yeah, okay.
I'm saying that because Liam likes to waffle when it comes to these answers, I think. All right, what's your morning routine look like?
Go to the gym and then come back and start editing. Oh, do a live stream, then start editing. Yeah.
Do you have breakfast then?
I do have breakfast. Sorry, yeah. So breakfast, gym, come back, live stream, and then I'll either edit or shoot a video.
Okay. What do you do at night to decompress?
I make sure that I get off the computer probably no later, like latest 9 o'clock p.m. and then I'll meditate and then read a book.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you reading? Or what have you been reading recently?
At the moment, well, yeah, as I said, I pretty much finished the book, The 5 Thieves of Happiness.
Uh-huh.
And I also have been reading The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Brilliant book.
Yeah.
Very, very
It's
good
great
book.
so far, yeah.
Okay. You'd like a book called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. All the Dale Carnegie books are amazing.
I haven't actually read that.
Yeah, so he's got 2 books, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah,
and then
I'm halfway through that. Yeah,
that's a really good book as well.
it's great. Yeah,
What's in the fridge at home?
nothing. Like that's one thing that we're really bad. Well, it's not my parents at all. It's my parents are good when they're here, but majority of the time I'm living by myself, so I'm pretty bad with that, especially with my editing habits. When I get into the flow, I don't eat much, so then I'll get Uber Eats a lot of the time because I'm like, oh fuck it, I'm so like dead. I just want to eat something. But at the moment, what's in the fridge? Kombucha. Got some ham for the dog and some
For the dog.
Yeah, some jam.
What's like your go-to Uber Eats?
Oh, Schnitz, Basic Instinct, 100%. I'll never change it. You can't even try and get me to change it. I just won't.
My place is Mr. O's. Mr. O's is like one of those Deliveroo, like kitchens. Like they only do Deliveroo.
Yeah.
And he's just like this amazing variety of Japanese food, and it's so much fucking cheaper than restaurants.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, no, like unless you live in a city, because like I'm pretty sure Deliveroo, they only do riding deliveries, right?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Mopeds.
I don't use them.
I don't know. All right, last question for you. If you had a billboard anywhere in Melbourne, so any place, but you think about a place where you see a billboard regularly, so where would it be first of all? And then what would you put on it? And it can be anything.
Oh, that is such a specific question. How do I even answer that? It would definitely be on the way when you're just about to come into Melbourne.
On
the billboard on the Monash Freeway.
Yeah.
Like anyone who's coming into Melbourne always sees that. So it would be there. Around the Nilex factory sort of area. What would be on it? I don't know. I think that like it would be probably an artwork or something, or like maybe a photo that one of us have taken and have a quote on it or something that can really like resonate with other people. I know it sounds all serious and stuff, but like I think that like you could easily go for something like a picture of myself, like with something like, but I don't want it to ever be about me. Even though like I'm a YouTuber and I make vlogs about my own life, it's not about me. It's about the message and the impact that I can make on other people.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's where most people go. It's a quote of some kind. Some people love to self-promote. It'd be me and my business or something like that.
I don't want that.
But yeah, I think that's a good one.
I think that if it was a quote, it would be something like, courage is built not in the absence of fear, but with fear present. Or something like, don't think, just do.
Do you know who said that?
No.
Courage one?
No.
We'll have to look
I'll have to look it up, yeah.
Wiki Quotes is amazing for looking at it.
Yeah. And Alan Watts has great quotes. One that I live by is the desire for a positive experience is in itself a negative experience, but the acceptance of the negative experience is in itself a positive experience.
Uh-huh.
And that's something I live by now.
He was an amazing guy.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. I still watch his like videos.
His videos on YouTube are amazing.
Yeah.
Him and Richard Feynman, watching their videos are quite fascinating. Look, mate, I feel like, we're nearly an hour and a half.
Oh, really? Shit,
Yeah.
that went really quick.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been awesome. Now I have like some stuff to take away from our own podcast kind of thing. So it's awesome.
Where can people find you on the interwebs? Where's the best place?
Well, you could just look up Hayden Pedersen. It should come up on YouTube. On Instagram, it's Haydos_Pedersen. I don't know why I haven't got that handle yet. I should probably try. Anyway, Hayden Pedersen. That's it. And check out the other boys, North Borders 7th Era. And our podcast is going to be up soon, Between the Frames podcast, but not just yet.
Where are you going to put that? Is it going to have its own YouTube channel?
Yeah, we're going to have the
Okay.
YouTube channel of the actual podcast, and we're going to have a separate YouTube channel for the highlights.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people are doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Mate, thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been awesome, bro.
Cheers. Thanks for tuning into the episode, guys. If you like the episode, do leave us a rating on your podcast app. If you want to follow us for regular updates, it's at uncommon_show on Instagram. Search for us on YouTube, Uncommon Show. And don't forget, of course, to subscribe. Until next time, thanks for listening.